Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. We are from Group 4 going to present on the case study of Hup Seng. Before we go further, we would like to introduce ourselves. We are Azahara binti Ramli, Nur Fatihah binti Zulkarnain, Shazana binti Muhammad Zain, and Siti Adidania binti Adi Revolusi. I'm going to start with the background of the company where Hup Seng was established in 1971. Where it has evolved into a diversified group with three main businesses involving engineering and construction that comprises structural steel and facade and modular construction, corrosion prevention, and also energy-related businesses. As mentioned in the case study, Tan was put in charge of SHS refinery petroleum distribution while Lim headed the corrosion prevention business arm. The vision of Hup Seng is to be in the forefront in each area of our business with products and services known for its quality and cost competitiveness. A storm had been brewing within SHS due to an internal struggle for leadership between two company founders. The chronology of the case was started on 2012. Tan was appointed as Managing Director of SHS and a member of the nominating committee. He was also put in charge of SHS refinery petroleum distribution, while Lim headed the corrosion prevention business arm. Tension between the two further heightened when both individuals had diverging opinions on the usage of SHS large amount of cash and cash equivalents to drive the company's growth. During the AGM on April 2013, Lim signaled his intention to step down as chairman and did not seek re-election. Later, Ang Keng Boon, the deputy chairman of TAT, recommended by the nominating committee and appointed as an executive director. After Lim put his resignation, Lim reduced his stake in the company and transferred his shareholding to his son Terence Lim. On May 2013, Terence, Chu Ho Soon and Singapore Clean Seas Limited, representing more than 10% of SHS shareholdings, filed for a requisition to hold an EGM with resolution to be considered, such as the removal of Managing Director Tan from office, reappoint Lim back onto the board, appoint Ng as an executive director, and also cancel the general issue mandate approval at April's AGM. The requisitioning shareholders had already gone close to 30% of shareholder support in removing Tan and reappointing Lim. On July 2013, Tan was removed by 93% of the votes and Lim had been reappointed as Executive Managing Director and Chairman. Along with Tan removal, Executive Director Ang, who was previously nominated in April, and CEO of TAT, Chan Huan Yong, also announced their resignation. Chan said that he resigned because the requisitioning shareholders made no attempt to acquaint him with Ng or to familiarize themselves with TAT's business. The improvement of SHS business position was further substantiated by its financial figure. The next part will be the governance issue in the case study. For the first issue is board ineffectiveness. This can be seen as board composition in SHS does not provide clear roles resulted on confusion of leader. Besides, SHS does not have clear objective and collective vision in their business cause boardroom brawl and tension in making decision. Next, identify issues in SHS through removal of director. During boardroom tussle in SHS, one of the director being removed without imposed proper procedure as well as his removal tainted with a bad faith. Next, another governance issue is lack of board independence. Here we can see that SHS having a low degree of independence on their board. Thus, the board are considered inefficiency of being an independent board as it will affect the board in making a certain decision and the decision will result to unsatisfactory of others. The last governance issue of Hup Seng is effect to shareholder. The boardroom tussle will affect the shareholders of the company, including its substantial shareholder. The first effect that we may find is it will create uncertainties to the investor and result the share stock price react negatively. This would mean a huge loss to them and it will force them to sell their stocks in order to survive. Secondly, on the report of Liu Jiateng 2019, this tussle also will create opportunity to other investors and result current minority shareholder to lose its position. Lastly, minority shareholders become voiceless in the company with the amount of support and voice from majority shareholder.
For the issue of board ineffectiveness, the discussion question is, what is the relationship between board composition and board effectiveness in maintaining the company performance? For the discussion objective, to analyze the relationship between board composition and board effectiveness in maintaining the company performance. As for literature review and application on the case, the issue of board ineffectiveness, the tension between two main executive and leader in Hup Seng, which are Lim and Tan, happened when Tan disagreed to an investment into an offshore drilling firm, while Lin advocated for that investment. The tension between two become worse when both individuals have diverging opinion on the usage of Hup Seng large amount of cash to drive the company's growth. In this case study, it shows that Hup Seng have diversity or board composition in the element of knowledge and expertise, specifically in leading major business segment, as Lim expert in corrosion prevention business, while Tan expert in refinery petroleum business in this company. But tension happened due to different opinion and direction in shaping company growth, thus led to tussle. Hence, any disagreement can be solved by making decisions objectively in the best interest of the company, by fixing the company aim to achieve collective decision together. As stipulated in MCCG 2021 Practice 1.1, the board should set the company's strategic aims, ensure that the necessary resources are in place for the company to meet its objective. While the UKCGC Principle B also mentioned that the board should establish the company purpose, values and strategy and satisfy itself that this and its culture are aligned. Therefore, in this situation, board composition and structure in Hup Seng are not aligning with their company's strategic plan for future growth, thus led to the board ineffectiveness. As the company of Hup Seng also does not have clear goal and strategy on the company direction due to differences between two executives, as their diverging of opinion not limited to their expertise and roles, but also on their perspective on the Hup Seng future growth that lead to the boardroom tussle. Next, in the issue of illegality act of directors removal. For the discussion question, what is the legal act and procedure of removal of director? For the discussion objective, to analyze the legality act of removal of director in the company. As for literature review and application on the case, in the issue of illegality act of directors removal, in this issue, Tan been proposed to be removed after Lim transferred his shareholdings to his son Terence. Then Terence, with another key shareholder representing more than 10% of Hup Seng shareholding, filed for requisition to hold an EGM composed of 4 resolutions. One of it is to remove Tan from the board and reappoint Lim back onto the board. As stated in the result of case in Hong Kong case, note that as statutory right to remove director was unqualified. The case also stated the power is given to shareholder to remove director who are performing poorly, and the act of removal of director can be considered illegal if one of it, the resolution to remove director, was tendered in a bad faith. In this case study, Lim planned to have his son Terence to have more voting powers in the company and have sufficient amount of interest by transferring his shareholder to call for EGM and manage to gather 30% of requisitioning shareholder to support in removing Tan from the board. In this situation, we can see the Tan being removed due to preference of the shareholder to have Lim back in the board and lead the Hup Seng. Besides, Tan was also not given a sufficient amount of time to require special notice as stated in Section 206 subsection 3 Companies Act 2016, as well as he not be given his right to be heard against its removal as stipulated in Section 207 sub 2 of Companies Act 2016. Therefore, these resolutions of EGM in removing Tan as director tainted with a bad faith as requisitioning shareholders support in removing Tan and reappoint Lim, and not because any legal causes or bad performance done by Tan that can remove him from the office.
Another issue is lack of board independency. The discussion question of the lack of board independency is what are the efficiency of board independency and whether the degree of independency on boards are appropriate for the company. And for the discussion objective is to identify the efficiency of board independency and the degree of independency on boards are appropriate for the company.
Assalamualaikum Madam, my name is Siti Adidania. Now I'm going to present another literature review and application of the issue lack of board independency. There are 5 literature review that are related to board independency. The first one is Practice Note 13 of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad has stated that independent director means a director who is independent of management and free from any business or other relationship which could interfere with the exercise of independent judgment or the ability to act in the best interest of an applicant or a listed issuer. The second literature review is under MCCG 2021 Practices 1.3 has stated that the position of chairman and chief executive officer are held by a different individuals. The third one is from MCCG 2021 to Practice 1.4 has stated that the chairman of the board should not be a member of the audit committee, nomination committee or remuneration committee. Next is according to the Bursa Security Listing requirement, a listed issuer must appoint a nominating committee consisting only of non-executive directors, the majority of whom must be independent per paragraph 15.08a clauses 1 of nominating committee. The last one is, as mentioned in the MCCG Practice 4.7, the nominating committee is chaired by an independent director or the senior independent director. This literature review can be applied in this case study. Based on the case study, on 2012, Tan was appointed as Managing Director of Hup Seng and a member of the Nominating Committee. At that time, Tan was the Chairman and co-founder of Tat Petroleum Private Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of Hup Seng. Here, we can clearly see that there is potential of having a lack of board independency, which there will be a biased decision because Tan is a chairman of Tat Petroleum. So the decision that Tan will make to Hup Seng would probably bias towards the interest for Tat Petroleum as he is a managing director of Hup Seng. Another case that can be applied is on 22nd July of 2013,
Tan was removed by 93% of the votes, and Lim had been reappointed as Executive Managing Director and Chairman. Based on this case study, we also clearly can see that there is no board independency applied. This is because there is no separation role. Due to this, Hup Seng cannot make it an independent judgment. This is because Lim are involved in a daily operation business as a Chief Executive Officer, as well as Lim also involved in giving final judgment as a chairman of Hup Seng. This can cause a conflict decision that will be arise in Hup Seng.
The last discussion question and discussion objective is effects to substantial shareholder. The discussion question is what is the impact of boardroom tussle to the shareholder of the company? And the discussion objective is to identify the impacts of boardroom tussle to the shareholder of the company. The last literature review is effects to substantial shareholder. According to Section 136 of the Companies Act 2016, it defines substantial shareholder as a person who has an interest in one or more voting shares in a company, and the number or the aggregate number of such shares is not less than 5% of the total number of all the voting shares included in the company. There is some of the substantial shareholders' right. The first one is attend, participate, and speak at a meeting. Second, the right to vote on a written resolution and at a general meeting. Third, the right to be treated fairly. Fourth, the right to remove directors and auditors of the company. Now we will take a look at the application. Hup Seng's reputation began to drop when Lim and Tan first fight ignited about the investment, followed by the path of the company's growth. When Hup Seng image began to drop, their stock price will react negatively, and this situation will affect the shareholder, especially substantial shareholder. Second, the re-election of Lim as director on 29 April 2013. This event is a proof that substantial shareholder also has the right to vote. However, they become voiceless as majority shareholder decide to vote otherwise. Thirdly, the influence of family member in the removal of Tan and re-election of Lim as director on 2020 July 2013 has also affected the substantial shareholder because they also become powerless here, as the decision has family's influence to the shareholder through Lim's son, Terence. Next, we will take a look at the recommendation. First recommendation would be Hup Seng need to review and restructure their board composition and revise company strategic plan. As stipulated by Alice 2012, it is crucial for board effectiveness to come out with collectively agreement and vision in addressing potential roadblocks to board effectiveness. Therefore, as suggestion, Hup Seng can review their board composition to have clear flow on who the leader and how the decision in the company being made, as well as revising their company strategic plan and provide clear direction on usage of investment towards their both major business segments. As board effectiveness enhanced, boardroom tussle can be hindered, as well as company performance and image will be improved. The second point for recommendation, as according to the guidance of MCCG 2021, Hup Seng need to be more considered in the separation of the position. Separation of the positions of the chairman and CEO promotes accountability and facilitates the division of responsibilities between them. In this regard, no one individual can influence the board's discussion and decision making. The responsibilities of the chairman should include leading the board in its collective oversight of management, while the CEO focuses on the business and day-to-day management of the company. The division should be clearly defined in the board charter. Furthermore, having the same person assume the position of chairman of the board and nomination committee gives rise to the risk of self-review and may impair the objectivity of the chairman and the board when deliberating on the observations and recommendations. Thus, the chairman of the board should not be involved in nomination committees to ensure there is check and balance as well as objective review by the board. The last recommendation is substantial shareholder need to be more anticipating with the boardroom tussle. This is because if the minority shareholder being passive in the company, the majority shareholder and board of director will continue oppress the minority. Therefore, if there is problem happen in the company because of the ineffectiveness of the board that make them lost, the aggrieved shareholder can take derivative action. The derivative action is a lawsuit brought by a shareholder of a corporation on its behalf to enforce or defend a legal right or claim which the corporation has failed to do.
Apart from that, the minority shareholder may also request for minority operation relief from the court. In some situations, the majority may even abuse their position in order to actively harm the interests of minority shareholders. As such, the operation remedy under Section 346 of the Companies Act 2016 is aimed towards providing a form of protection to minority shareholders facing oppressive acts.
As for the conclusion, the main highlight of our case study is a boardroom tussle. Boardroom tussle can impact the business operation as well as the business performance. The power struggle at the top seems to be a frequent occurrence of our business, and the uncertainty that arises can undermine the firm's image and the share prices. The scuffle at the top also can affect the staff morale and business confidence. Hence, it is crucial for a company to adopt strong corporate governance with compliance of statutory regulation and law in addressing issues as well as maintaining peace in the board.